Welcome to Unit 6. This is Lesson 1. We're going to be talking about division in this unit. Today I'm going to show you what it is I want to see when you're dividing numbers. What kind of work I'm going to need you to show me. Let's start with some review. If I were to ask you to write this problem down, 24 divided by 2, you may write it this way, lying down. You may also write 24 divided by 2 as a fraction. And you might also write it using a box, which is probably what you're going to be doing a lot of in this unit. 24 divided by 2. Each of these problems can be solved in the way that they're written. Each of them also will have 3 parts when you're done solving them. The first part is called the dividend. Dividend. The dividend is the number that you're breaking up. We're breaking up the number 24 into 2 parts. So the dividend is the number 24 in all 3 problems. The second part is the divisor. The divisor is the number that's telling you how many equal parts to break it into. So we're breaking it into 2 equal parts, so the divisor is the 2. And the third part is the quotient. Quotient. The quotient is the word we use for the answer. So the quotient would be the answer to all 3 of these problems. In this case, actually, the quotient will be up here. It's going to be important that you understand all 3 of these terms and where they are, because I will be referring to them by these names throughout the unit. So you need to know what the dividend, the divisor, and the quotient are. We're going to solve this problem now, 24 divided by 2, using the method you've learned in the past. The first thing that you probably remember is the dad, mother, sister, brother. I might be throwing in something new for you today. Hopefully you've heard of this. It's the check. And you want to check after you've subtracted. So I'm going to walk you through this problem going through the steps that we have to the right. The first step is to divide. And what I ask you to do is show all the work the way that I'm showing it to you. Don't skip any steps and do everything exactly the way I do it. The first step is to divide. And what are we dividing? We're going to try to divide this guy, our divisor, into the first digit of our dividend. And I'm going to ask you to underline the first digit of the dividend. That's going to show me that you're trying to put this number, whether it's single digit or double, you're going to be trying to put this number into the first digit. And if it does go into the first digit, then we're going to go ahead and divide. 2 goes into 2. It goes into it 1 time. So we're going to put our 1 up there. We've now divided. And now we're going to multiply. And when we multiply, we're multiplying our answer, 1, times 2. So we're going to be multiplying 1 times 2 to get 2. We know now that 2 goes into 2 1 time. And if you multiply 1 times 2, you get 2. Now we've multiplied. And now we're going to subtract, which is the next step. We're going to subtract these. We're going to add our subtraction symbol and go ahead and do 2 minus 2 to get 0. We've now subtracted, and then comes this new thing called check. And what does that mean? It means that we want to check our answer so far after we're done subtracting, whatever is left over at this point, we're checking that with our divisor. And this number 0 has to be less than our divisor. It can't be equal to it, and it can't be more than that. If this answer here is not less than our divisor, then that means that our number up here is incorrect, that we could have put 2 into this digit more times. That's not the case in this problem. We're okay. So we're going to go to the next thing to do, the next step, which is bring down. We're going to bring our 4 down, straight down, right next to what we had left after we subtracted. It's going to go right next to it. And in this case, we had 0 left. So our number now is going to be 4 after having brought down the 4. And now we go back up to the top, and we do this again like a cycle. We're going to do it again. Now, when we divide again, we're going to be now dividing our divisor into our new number. So the question now is, how many times does 2 go into 4? And 2 goes into 4 2 times. So we're doing our dividing again. Goes in there 2 times. Then we're going to drop down and multiply. We're still multiplying 2, this number, our newest answer, with our divisor, 2 times 2, which is 4. And then we're going to subtract 4 minus 4. That will give us 0. Then we're going to check and make sure 0 is less than our divisor, and it is. And then if there are any numbers left to bring down, we're going to bring down. We don't have any numbers to bring down, and so we are finished with this problem. If there was anything left over down here, then down in this area, then we would use that number to either write a remainder or to write our remainder as a fraction. In this unit, we're going to start off writing remainders. So on this problem, I have a much larger dividend. The divisor is still single digit. I'm going to be asking you to put 9 into this very large number. I'm going to show you exactly how I want you to show me how to do this whenever you're doing your homework for tonight and in the future. The first thing I want you to do is to try to put 9 into the first digit and show me that you're doing that by underlining the first digit. If 9 goes into 4, then you would put the answer above the 4. But if 9 will not go into 4, because 4 is too small, 9 will not go into it, then I want you to show me that it won't go into it by putting a 0 above it. And it's really important that you line it up perfectly, that the 0 is above the 4. It's not over here in the corner. It's not in between the 4 and the 3. That it's clearly above the 4. It's going to be really important that we line up every answer above the digit that it's supposed to be above. So we've done the first part, we divided, but there was nothing to do there. And now if you can't put 9 into 4, it goes in there 0 times, then I want you to underline the next digit, which is the 3. And now you're going to try to put 9 into 43. How many times will 9 go into 43? 9 goes into 43 a total of 4 times. 9 times 5 is 45, and that's too high, so 9 times 4 would be the correct one. Now we've divided, we could check that off. And our next step is to multiply. And again, make sure that the 4 is above the 3. And that 4 should be above the 3 because the 3 is the last digit in the number 43. And we were working with the number 43. So I want your answer to be above the last digit of the number you were dividing into. Now we're multiplying. And we're going to multiply 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is 36. We're going to take our 36, and I know the next step is going to be to subtract, so I put the subtraction sign. I'm going to subtract now 43 minus 36. Now, there's an interesting thing here. Because we are dealing with single digits, we know that when we're done subtracting, the answer must be less than 9. If it isn't less than 9, we've done something wrong. So we can anticipate and predict that the answer will be less than 9. You have 10 fingers, and you know the answer is going to be less than 9, so you have enough fingers to figure it out. You may do this by subtracting 3 minus 6 and borrowing. Or a lot of times what I'll do is if I know the answer is going to be less than 10 and I have enough fingers for it, then I'll start with the number 36. I'll actually start with this number, and I will count up from 36 to 43. I'll make a fist, and I'll say the number 36, and then I'll count up, and I'll use a finger for each number I count up. So 36 is my fist, then 37 is the first finger, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43 would tell me that the answer is 7. So now that we have that, we're going to check. We want to check this 7, make sure it's less than the 9. If it is, we can move forward. And if it's not less than 9, then we've made an error. We probably made an error here. If it's more than 9, then it could go into it more times. It could have gone into 43 more times. If this answer was 10, then 9 could go into 10 one more time. So we would have made a mistake here. So it's very key that you check mentally. It's a real quick, easy thing to do, but it will keep you on track. So now we're at the bring down part. We're going to bring down our 6. I want to see the arrow. I want you to show me that you're bringing the 6 down right next to the 7 to turn that 7 into 76. And right here above the 6 is where the answer to the next division problem will be. We're now going to go back up, start the cycle again, and divide. And we're going to divide 9 into 76. 9 goes into 76 a total of 8 times. 9 times 8 will get you 72. So that's close to 76. So now I'm going to multiply 9 times 8 to get 72. I'm going to write 72 underneath, put my subtraction sign, that's up because that's what I'll be doing next. And then I'm going to subtract 76 minus 72. And again, the answer has to be less than 9. So you could count from 72 up to 76. 72 with a fist. 73 is your first finger. 74 is your second. 75 is your third. And 76 is your fourth finger. So the answer is 4. Could be gotten more than one way. You could subtract this the normal traditional way. Or you could count up when the option presents itself, like when your divisor is less than 10 or is 10 or less. Now we have to bring down. So we're going to go to our next digit and bring down the 2. Notice again that my last answer went above the 6. Why did it go above the 6? Because that's the number I brought down. It's the last digit that I was putting 9 into. And so I need to put my answer above that. And so far I have everything lined up beautifully. There's one thing above every number, even if it's a 0. And now I'm bringing down my final number, which is a 2. We brought down, and now we got to go back up and do this again. We're now into divide again, and we're dividing 9 into our new number, which is 42. How many times does 9 go into 42? 9 goes into 43 4 times, and 42 isn't that far off. And a lot of times you'll do a lot of work, and if you show your work on paper, you'll be able to go back to that work to help you out with problems you'll have to do in the future. And here I have a similar problem to one I've already done, and I know it goes in 4 times. 5 times again is going to be too much. So I'm dividing, my third time dividing. And now I'm going to multiply for the third time, 4 times 9, which is 36. I'm running out of room. And I'm going to put my subtraction sign, go to my third step, which is subtract. And again, I can count up. 36 is my fist. 37 is my first finger. 38 is my second. 39 is my third. 40 is my fourth. 41 is my fifth. And my sixth finger will get me to 42. So that means that 42 minus 36 is 6. Now, I don't have any numbers left to bring down, and I'm done subtracting, so I don't have to bring down a third time, because I can't. And I have something left over, so I'm going to show that as a remainder of 6. Don't forget, you could also show that as not a remainder, but you could show it as a fraction if you were asked to, by using your remainder as your numerator, and your denominator, of course, is your divisor. That won't change. So it could be an answer of 484 remainder 6, or it could be an answer of 484 and 6/9. Of course, that's not an improper fraction, but it's a fraction that should be simplified by dividing top and bottom by 3. Just to remind you of something we learned a long time ago, that this really is 2/3. Better said as 2/3. 2/3 and 6/9 are equal, but it's better to say 2/3, right? Because it's simplified that way. Thank you for taking a look at today's lesson and rewind any parts of it that you did not understand. Make sure that you show your work the way I have shown it. A couple of key things to remind you of. 1, make sure when you're done that every number has something above it. You're not allowed to have 2 digits above one number, and you're not allowed to leave any blank. If you do that, you're probably very likely to be getting these correct. Also, make sure that you show your remainders as remainders today and not fractions.